think Adam and I would share that mindset. We both went to Iowa, and it was far enough away from home, but close enough to home to kind of feel familiar.
And was home for a weekend, right? 3-hour drive. It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. For me, it was about 6 hours. But it's far enough where the parents can't come visit easy. You know?
Yeah.
So if I'm doing something, I probably should. Hey, what are you gonna do? But then I was in year 3, I think, and I realized this just wasn't it. Like architecture, I was passionate about it for a long time, but I also feel like there were a lot of other influences that were leading down that path. Like that said, architecture, you're really good at it. You should do that.
Right.
And I think in year 3, I realized I wasn't engaged like that. I was sitting in the computer lab. It was just massive building down by the student union, and the Macs at the time were those like pods that had the one screen that pivots all the way 360. Right? And so like I'm rendering out a building, and as it's rendering, I'm like, oh, what's this? Photoshop, Illustrator. Oh, these are cool. I started like messing around, and like, well, this is really cool. Like I love this. So I started like teaching myself design. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't afford the programs, but I could use them for free in the labs. So I just went into the lab and started playing around. And then at the time I was really, really connected to my fiance at the time, right? She wasn't my fiance yet. She was about to be. And I proposed. She wanted to move back home. She was about to graduate in year 4. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to transfer. So I transferred to Cal State Fullerton. It was closer.
Okay.
It was back home, allow her to start her career where she wanted to be. And I mean, I'm still figuring it out, right? You go to Cal State Fullerton and you go down the path of graphic design. I mean, in the first semester, and I'm like, man, you don't need a degree to do this. So you change again. Yeah. And at that point in time, I really sat back. That was the first time I think I made a true self-evaluation that made sense. And I think this is a really good takeaway, right? Is that there are times in our life, whether it's personal, professional, I'm in one of those times right now. You sit back and you take a minute. The world is buzzing by. Like I've got things coming at me every angle right now, but I'm finding the time to just take the moment, understand where I'm at, try to build the path in my head of where I want to go, where I want to be. And once you can get that gathered up, it's all clear, right? You don't feel the pressure. And so for that Cal State Fullerton moment, it was much the same. Like I sat down and I said, what's going to be most meaningful to me if I want to be a designer is to understand why Photoshop, why Illustrator, why InDesign works the way it does.
Yeah.
Right? What's the core of that? If I understand the core, then I know how that program works. So I switched to fine arts.
Right.
I went in and I learned every piece of art method you can imagine. I painted with oils, watercolors, acrylics. I did lithography, etching. I did basket weaving, pottery. All these things led to pottery. Taught me 3D modeling.
Yeah.
Right. The painting gave me layers. Right. So photography gave me how it's developed. Like all these things meant something. So once I got into the tools that I was already learning on my own, made sense. Completely made sense. At this moment in time, right now, I can deconstruct anything in my head and know how to build it, and I am super quick. So Chris, if you said, Adam, I need you to design me this really cool mug with all your brand on it, I can do that very fast because I know how everything is built and how it works. I think that was probably the best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
Right.
You got that foundation, and that allowed you to grow your skill set even further.
Yep.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power, and knowledge, and sometimes the simplest things, when you've got a passion for a bigger goal, allows you to get to that point. Right.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go for the big stuff. Don't go do that. Like figure out who you want to be and then go with it.
Sure.
Right.
I love that. And you think about, your experience in college, Arizona State, Cal State Fullerton, two very different institutions.
Yes.
Two very different brands.
Yes.
As a marketer and a creative, what do you see as an alumni now? Like looking at the brands, like what are you excited about? What are they?
Yeah. So, I mean,
what are they doing well?
Arizona State has grown tremendously.
They had a huge win last weekend is what they had.
They did. I do like where they're going with that. But yeah, they've grown. You look at what they've done with the sciences and some of the robotics that they're doing for, big space missions and things. That's insane.
Yeah.
That wasn't a thing. Arizona State started as a school built around education, right? And you think about that, like, where are they now? I mean, they're top business school, one of the top business schools in the country. They got a great architecture program. They've got amazing science department now in what they're doing with some of the athletics. Amazing, right?
Some of the coolest uniforms, too.
Yeah,
They really do.
super cool. And then you go to Cal State Fullerton, and Cal State Fullerton is truly like this commuter school, right? A lot of people that are trying to get higher education, and it's like almost you're passing by it on the highway all the time. But they've got an amazing foundation in the arts. A lot of their art folks go on to become animators for DreamWorks and Nickelodeon and Disney, and so they're really good at that. Film,
cool.
film.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, film's big there. They have a really good film program. And I say, one of the things that I did at Cal State Fullerton, one of the classes that I keep, it's like a special place in me, was my leadership class. I took a leadership class at Cal State Fullerton, and the guy that was leading it had been through like 4 divorces, right? He's been fired from 10 different jobs. Like, he's led teams, but totally like didn't do so well at them, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, man, you probably aren't the person to lead this class. And he'd be the first one to tell you. And he said, I've not excelled well in the things that I've done, but I've learned from every one of those.
Yeah.
And he said the most important thing in leadership is to listen and be respectful in how you engage.
Yeah.
Right? We don't use you, we use I. And that whole you-I conversation, even in business now, it's not what I want. It's what you need. So I'm going to listen to you, and then you're going to tell me what you need, and I will figure it out for us.
Yep.
Right? And that meant so much to me when I was thinking about how I was going to be my own leader and what I wanted to be. And that's transformed me into a very open type of leader, right?
Yeah.
I share way more than I probably should. If you're following on LinkedIn what I'm doing, I literally am opening up and trying to be a little bit more vulnerable than most. And I think that makes me more genuine, more human, and more accessible.
Yeah. Well, and I think it reveals different layers to the individual. And you had a post the other day. It was about the artist from like the 80s movie posters.
Yeah, Drew Struzan.
And I learned something from that. And I had always looked back at, Star Wars and Indiana Jones and those classic posters where you have like that different faces and the elements of the movie. And they do such an amazing job at telling the story before you even watch the movie.
Yeah.
You know what you're signing up for.
Yep.
And it just gets the curiosity going in your brain. So I love the fact you're opening up and sharing those different things because people do learn from it and they see a different angle to who Adam is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
And there's so much. I'm learning so much from my own teams across, all the locations. I'm learning so much from my colleagues. There's so many colleagues that I have that have supported me over the years, and I know while certain things have changed, I know they're always going to be there. I can always reach out and talk to them. I think relationships right now in our world matter so much.
Yes.
And if I'm genuine and that relationship feels genuine, then we get that opportunity to continue what we've been working on in maybe different ways.
Yeah.
You know?
I think relationships are at a premium.
Yeah.
And it's something that they change the way businesses can move forward together. You know, to your earlier point of the I, you, and us at the end, I love the for us that you mentioned.
Yeah.
We say that a lot here. We look at collaborative partnerships with our clients, and it's something we're going to work for us. So I love the fact that you called that out. It's a huge mindset when it comes to all of this and bringing it together.
Yeah, even with my meetings today, you know, my intent coming up to Club Colors has been we're establishing a new relationship because we're now our own business.
Yeah.
And so coming into this, well, I could go the status quo, everything I know, or I can do something completely different, right?
Yeah.
So again, taking the moment, actively listening and observing what we've been going through, understanding what my locations are going to need, understand what the business is going to need. I then say, we have an opportunity to do something that we haven't in a long time. And the conversations we've had out amongst my new team here at Club Colors has been more of, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Like, what's going to help Club Colors drive success for me and make it scalable? What's going to help us grow as a partner and push the boundaries for other businesses you work with? Because that's where I want to be. I want to be on the cutting edge of it. I want to be the guy in the hamster ball.
The trendsetter.
Running around. So that's what I want to be. And that in that regard, yes, we're going to look at savings. We're going to look at ordering systems. We're going to look at things maybe in ways that are different than we did in the past, but really also engaging in different ways.
Yeah. No, you talk about engagement, and there's a couple different ways I like to look at engagement when it comes to branding. A big part of that is how you engage with the community. So whether that's your customers, your staff members, your teammates, your peers, how do you look at what you're building with Pick Your Part and the opportunity to engage with the community? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so Pick Your Part is a unique business. A lot of our locations don't necessarily reside in a favorable area, and that's just because the nature of the business.
Sure.
Most cities would rather them be in more industrial parks, and they like to see that they're kind of secluded away from the main drag.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind. It happens, but what is it? And by the way, Pick Your Parts, if you've never been to one, we are very clean. We lead through safety, and that includes environmental.
Sure.
Like we make sure that we recycle everything properly. We set it appropriately so it's safe in the yard. We want to make sure that it's a great buying experience. So it's a very well kept experience for you to go in and pull apart, and there's confidence in what it is. So that being said, I think as we go and establish what does it look like in a community, it's about what does the community need. Again, listening.
Active listening.
Yes. And a good example is we've got a location down in Tampa, and right across the street is an elementary school.
Okay.
And this elementary school years ago was struggling with getting their third grade readers on board with reading. Their reading scores were pretty low. They were the bottom 20% of the state. They were on the bottom end of their county's reading levels. And we, as Pick Your Part across the street, reached out and we wanted to do something with them as a community partner.
Yeah.
We offered them an opportunity to come over for a field trip, and we wanted to show them how cars get recycled.
That's awesome.
Crushing cars? Yeah, come on.
Who doesn't want to see a
that's
car
awesome.
get crushed?
Yeah.
I do, for sure.
Listen, I can hook that up.
I know. We gotta
He
make
knows
it
the
happen. I know. No, we have to make it happen. We've talked about it a few times over the last 2 days. And,
Okay, next time I'm up here, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, we'll go to
we'll
a
go and
site.
crush a car.
Yeah.
Make some content.
Yes, for
Yes,
sure.
Absolutely. We should totally like put a camera inside there and crush it.
Crushing cars
I
and
love that.
crushing brands.
Yes. We just derailed your beautiful story, by the way. Keep going.
There
Sorry.
you go. Yeah, no, it's fine. And so as we've brought them in, we start to realize that there's probably more support we could do.
Yeah.
And how much is it to incentivize a kid? Probably not that much. They're excited about a scoop of ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So we started a program, and it wasn't me. I will not take credit for that. My predecessor built that relationship. And in 2020, I came in and reevaluated it. One thing we weren't doing was we weren't tracking the success. We didn't know. We didn't know if we were really making an impact. So I went to the principal and I asked for the opportunity to not get involved. I want to help you. I want to understand where do we start and how do we get to an end? What are you graded on? And she was willing and open to share that information. She didn't give me kid specifics or anything like that. But definitely giving me an idea of how it could work. And so we tailored the program around that. And it was things like bigger incentives with cash gift cards, usually Amazon cards. And then we brought in books. So I wanted to come in and I wanted to bring the entire third grade books, the same book, so they could read together, encourage them to read together. So I get up in front of them and be like, all right, guys, this is what we're doing. I brought everybody a brand new book and some pizza. Here's the thing. We're going to enjoy pizza today, and you guys are going to read the book together, and I'm going to come back and you tell me all about it.
Yeah.
And I come back, they tell me all about it. I bring a new book. We do it all over again. But this time it was ice cream, right?
Yeah.
And
fantastic.
Come back. We do the big ceremony at the end, and these kids are like, what? I just got $100? Really? Right? Yeah, man, you grew 8 reading levels. Like, that's crazy. You did an amazing job. You should be proud of that. Go get something cool, right? Buy more books. And so that goes on. After year 2 of changing that program, the school that we worked with goes from bottom 20% to top 90. They're in the 90th percentile of the state. And they're the top school in the dang county.
It's not a small state either.
No.
And you're like, what did you do, Adam? Well, all I did was I cared.
Yeah.
I reached out and I cared. And you know what happened with that? Beyond the school, we built a relationship with the fire department. We built a relationship with the police department. They came in. We have the kids' art plastered all over the wall with all these thank you cards and all these different like messages to us. Thank you, PYP.
I love that.
It's great.
We love you and all that stuff. And it doesn't take much. It just takes a little bit of care and thought.
Yeah.
And you think about what you can do. I mean, even with some of the other schools, I made it snow in Florida. These kids have
that's
never.
no easy task.
They've never seen snow, and it snowed in Florida one day because Adam showed up and made it happen, and that gets you excited, right? To do more, to be engaged, to know that your community cares about you, and I mean that's just one example of so many. Getting involved truly does matter. Knowing that you wanted to be there matters, right? And I think if you give a kid a book and you encourage them to read it, and then you follow up, they're gonna surprise you. They're going to do that if they can. I mean, we've had kids go from not being able to read at all to reading 4th grade level in 1 year.
I love that, and the call out for books in particular. I'm a father, and my kids, I can't keep them out of books.
Yeah,
and it's amazing to see how much young minds can just engross themselves into the story and the impact that it has. So I love that. That's awesome.
Yep.
When you think about the brand that you're building with Pick Your Part, you mentioned PYP, the acronym of it. What goes into, now that you have the opportunity to build this into its own brand, What excites you about that? Like what's next for the brand?
Well, I mean, business leads it,
Yeah.
right? The goals and objectives lead where we go with the brand. And I think that as we look towards the future, you got to understand where the auto parts business is, and you got to understand what consumers expect, what they want to be delivered. And I think the brand is going to go through some pretty significant changes in ways that we wouldn't have expected, and it might just reshape what that self-service experience looks like. But the whole time we're going to go through this, it's going to be customer focused.
Right.
The customer experience is leading the way for us, and I think that even with other businesses that may be in a similar path, how do I shape my brand in today's world? Built around this idea that AI exists, that the genuine nature of things may be disappearing, right? We're challenged with keeping it real, keeping it on point.
I love that.
Right? And that, I think, is where we are going to try to live, is bring the brand back to real. Stop worrying about what we're told to do, but let that customer experience guide us, and listen to our customers. Actively listen. And that might be data-driven. It might be going in and getting, questionnaires completed.
Yeah.
It might be just spending time in the yards and pulling our own parts to experience it ourselves, and getting dirty, getting into the weeds, and that will help shape where we're going to go.
I love that. I mean, the mindset to get into the weeds and do all that and craft this opportunity to take the brand somewhere different or new and exciting. It's just outstanding.
Yeah.
For yourself, you've held a couple of different roles through the years, both
Yeah.
in marketing and in creative. For our listeners out there, oftentimes those terms get interchanged for folks that aren't in marketing or in creative. How are they actually different?
So I think a lot of times marketing is really like that strategic business end. You're aligning yourself to goals and objectives that the business wants, and then you're trying to find ways to execute that, and you're leveraging data and everything. On the creative side, it's more of, you've got this information from marketing. Marketing is going to feed that over to you, and you're tasked with taking their goals and objectives and then putting visual to it and bringing that story to life in a way that makes sense to what they need to drive. And I think there's a lot of businesses that see it as, you've got a marketing department, you've got a creative department. They operate independently of each other, but then they got that butting heads kind of mentality.
Right.
Like, I can't do that. That's not how I would envision that's being done. It's not how I would deliver that. I think that's the point where you need somebody that has that cross between.
Right.
That can see both sides of that. And I would hope that a marketing leader would be able to see those two paths and understand that one directly affects the other. And on the creative side, I mean, I would really push creatives to get more involved in what that data is coming in as. Really ask the questions before you get down to the computer, to the design aspect of it. Be open to going into a meeting with a sketch pad and just hear it and draw it and keep doodling and get your brain going to what that information is telling you.
Yeah.
Right? Don't wait. Do not wait, because marketing moves really fast, because business is changing all the time.
Right.
I could have a meeting with somebody and they'll say, Adam, here's the objective. This is what we're going to do. And I'll go tell my creative team, they'll go work on it, but then all of a sudden I get a call. Wait. No, we got to change. That price isn't that price anymore. The price is going to be this.
Right.
And, based on the analysis, we can't go there. okay, hold on over there. Like you could go just hold. Let me get some more questions. So you want to be in the room.
Yeah.
Right. And I think if you're a creative that's looking to take that next step in your career, you want to be in the room. Yeah. Like ask, hey, can I just sit in on this so I can get a better understanding and get in front of it? Because as that creative, I'd be telling you, don't rasterize the price, right?
Right.
Leave it editable. Because if you rasterize it and then you save it, you're going to have to rebuild it, right? So
redraw it.
It, and that's not going to work. And so you've got to kind of keep that balance between the two. And I think marketing owes it to creatives to allow them to be involved.
Right.
Right. As a marketer that's leading by data and by information from the fields, I want my creative people involved. So I might get an email from the business, and they've only included me on that email, and they're like, we're going to have a meeting. Okay, great. So I accept the meeting, and then I forward it to my creative, and I said, I need you on this meeting. And then they're like, why is that person here? They need to be here.
Yeah.
Trust me, they need to be here because I don't want to have to relay this. And if I relay it, it can get lost. So let's talk about it together. He might tell me one thing. You're going to tell me another. We'll get it squared up. So I would say lean on each other. Creative and marketing need to play together. And if you're in that spot, like encourage each other to participate.
I mean, Adam and I, we interact often with higher education, and they use the term the silos of campus, and oftentimes creative and marketing and licensing.
Procurement.
It's a whole nother wrinkle to it.
Yeah.
They're all in their own little silos and procurement. So I love the call out to be able to collaborate together to ultimately achieve what you're trying to achieve together. Yeah. But that only works when you do things together.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because even procurement, you mentioned procurement, like one of the best colleagues I had at LKQ was our senior director of procurement, Rob Myers. Rob Myers, you wouldn't think marketing and procurement make a lot of sense. Marketing likes to spend money. Oh yeah, hey, it's a party. Let's go do this. Right? And Rob's like, no, Adam, we're not going to do that. But the partnership between us really grew in looking at what Rob is seeing, and Rob opening up the doors and saying, Adam, this is why we can't. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. I'm with you. All right, let's build it a little differently.
Yeah,
I still can get this, but I'm going to have to do it a different way. And that's what marketers do. We find the solutions to the problem, right? In a human way. So if we do that, then okay, now we got that bond. We're going to be able to trust each other in that process. He's going to have more confidence that I'm not going to, to step on whatever he's got working on, and we're going to get that across the finish line better. Yeah. And so when it comes down to dollars, right? All businesses are led by the dollars. Then having him in my pocket as I want to spend money helps me. So I think relationships just crossing over those boundaries, allowing that open share is super important.
Absolutely. And I think that transcends industry. It doesn't matter if you're in the corporate marketplace or in higher education, work together.
Exactly.
When you think about, one last question for you, Adam, if you think about your time in college, if you go back to Arizona State, go back to Cal State Fullerton, what was in your mind as you're looking to start a career? You fast forward now to where you sit today. What words of wisdom would you give to maybe some current students out there that are ultimately trying to end up somewhere similar to yourself?
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's an interesting one. I mean, your career is made up of so many different journeys, so many different paths.
It's not just a straight line.
It's not a straight line. I kind of feel like it's a bus trip across country, right? Like you get to one point and you see something amazing and you jump off and you go and explore, and then you realize, I've had enough of this, and I'm going to go jump on the bus again. I'm going to go find another spot, and that's really cool. I'll jump off here and explore some more. And I would encourage you to see the journey as just these bus stop moments, right?
Yeah.
These stops where you get to take a chance, grow a little bit, learn something, jump back on that bus and go to the next place. You will never have it completely figured out. Even today, I don't have it completely figured out, right?
Right.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay. Because if I had it all figured out, then it wouldn't be that interesting.
Right.
Right? Like I would already know where my end is, and what's the point at that point?
Yeah.
Like, let's do this thing together. Let's journey through it together. Let's go ahead and, let the path be there.
Yeah.
And when you see something interesting, jump off.
Yeah, enjoy that ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the continued theme throughout our conversation today is trying different things, taking some risks in what you're doing, and that ultimately paves the way to what you see.
You know what's crazy is a very good close friend of mine about a year ago, I was going through my own little personal challenge at the moment, and I didn't know where I wanted to go. I was having a bus stop moment, right? And that bus stop moment was a lot of uncertainty, and I had the choice of taking this and blazing a new path, or jumping back on that bus and seeing it down the road a little bit more. And he came out. He flew down to Nashville, where I live, and we went out to dinner. And we were sitting there having a very deep, long conversation. And he said, "Adam, you have to understand something. He's like, you have so many great pieces of wisdom, so many pieces of knowledge that a lot of people don't see, that you owe it to yourself to communicate.
Yeah.
You owe it to yourself to get out there and put it out publicly." And encouraged me to start posting once a week on LinkedIn. I do not like social media. Personally, I try to avoid it. And I'm like, well, that's a really big ask, man.
Yeah.
LinkedIn's that's a weird one. That's where your career is, right?
Yeah.
And if you say the wrong thing, oh no, what do I do? And I said, you know what? I will give that a shot. I will commit. I will do it. I can't promise you for how long, And so I started doing it, and I started thinking about these steps that I was going to take. Okay, first, here's the plan, because I'm all about efficiency. I'm going to build out all the topics I want to talk about, and I'm going to strategize how I'm going to get from point A to point B, and then I'm going to start writing, and then I'm going to schedule them, and then I'm just going to let them go, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. First off, I scheduled the first 7 posts, because I'm like, I just scheduled and said, forget it. Like, I'm not even going to look. I don't even want to look, because I don't even know. And as they were coming in, all of a sudden people are responding, and they're giving me feedback, and they're giving me comments, and they're reacting. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, this actually
It drives relationships.
It hit.
Yeah.
It meant something to somebody. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So then I started getting into it a little bit deeper. I said, maybe I need to personalize this even further, because the first several, like if you go back when I first started posting, they're very high level, just, marketing. And
all the grand ideas.
Yeah. Just like all these little. Now it's very, I'm diving in even deeper.
Yeah.
I'm personalizing. I'm writing. That writing process takes me a while, but it is so lethargic in release. Like you get into the zone. I write a bit. Put it off to the side, come back, write a bit more, and I try to personalize it as what I'm seeing in the moment. Mm-hmm. And it might be something with AI, the new tools that are coming out. It might be something like the Drew Struzan when he passed away. It meant something to me, and so I wanted to post about it, because most people might not know. And then as you go through that, every week, I'm like, what's on my agenda this week? What can I talk about?
Yeah.
And so they're not scheduled.
Yeah.
These aren't scheduled. These are coming out pretty much live. I might schedule them right now, but it's just because I got them in a whole draft pattern.
Yep.
And then when I get it all tightened up, I just push it to release it.
Yeah.
I
love that. I mean, both of us have taken the dive into LinkedIn posting and using it to grow and foster relationships. A big part of our journey was we had the opportunity to sit down with Darren McKee, who's got 130 30,000 followers or so on LinkedIn, and just picking his brain on what he saw as that key to success. And the very first thing I remember him saying, you just got to post. Like, that's the hardest thing to get started. Is it doesn't matter what you're talking about. Like, early on, no one's gonna be following you anyway. So just get into the habit of understanding how you're telling your story. And I love that.
Yeah, I've connected with so many people through the DM method who've reached out, and there have been some personal exchanges and things that have been really really interesting one-on-one in other langues. Like these are from other countries. Like I've had colleagues from Germany talking to me, and I've got to translate it, and I got to write something and translate it back, and like amazing connections that happen in there. And one of the things I told my friend that came down and challenged me with it in that initial conversation, I said, one of my goals in my career path is I would love the opportunity to speak publicly for businesses that are looking for, the storytelling aspect. How does marketing blend with business? All that stuff. I would love to have that opportunity to publicly speak. Yeah. I know it's something that I would have to work towards, and I would have to get a little bit more comfortable with. But I've spoken on large stages. At a big corporate company, you jump on that stage. I built a stage that has a video wall that's 80 feet wide by 40 feet tall, full content, and I'm in front of that thing and going off on 2,000 people. That's fun to me. Jungle Cruise Days 2.0.
Jungle Cruise Days 2.0.
And so that he said that's the way to do it, man. Yeah. You got to get out there. Be relevant. So I loved it.
Absolutely. Well, Adam, it has been a pleasure sitting down with you today, diving into how you look at marketing, how you look at creative, your background, all the fun stories through the years. More than anything, Pick Your Part is an outstanding brand. It's coming to disrupt things a little bit and make a mark for itself. Go check out Pick Your Part. Thanks for coming in, Adam. We're happy to have you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
This is great. Fun couple days. Thanks, Adam.
Yep.